You're watching the Flying Dutchman podcast.
So this is us driving on to near the flight line at the Beale Air Show, the open house. Being a reconnaissance base, spy planes, other weird stuff that they might do here, security is heavy. If you look around, you might find a sniper on a rifle, or a rifle sniper on a rooftop. Here, plenty of, hey, Dutch. They obviously are fans of the Flying Dutchman. Like, go over there. He wants him far away. You don't want that. So that paper on our dashboard is we paid for priority parking, which puts you closer to the air show, less walking. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees today. And also, it puts you near the flight line. We got here an hour early just to see how close we can get to the flight line. And we're being told to go that way. And in the distance, look at that. We can see a B-52 tail, a C-17 tail, a KC-135, a child eating ice cream. Oh, here we are. There's my hat. Now we're being directed all the way down. Look at that. We are early on the perfect parking facing the taxi. Well, welcome to this episode of the Flying Dutchman podcast. Today we're at Beale Air Force Base, California, to attend their Air Expo 2025. And behind me is the U-2 trainer. And unfortunately for airplane geeks such as myself, the Air Force is retiring out the U-2. This might be the last or second to last time we get to see this beautiful aircraft on display. So we have plenty to see, plenty to do, talk to some people, let's take a look around. And we arrived an hour early, and already the line is forming. So we're going to need a bottle of water today. It's expected to get near 100 degrees. Let's go. Definitely difference with the military base is you need to have a driver's license or a government issued ID. You need to have clear backpacks. Everything's inspected. No food, no beer. And once we're inside, nice pan around. This is a typical scene for an air show. There's, T-38, DC-3. There's the B-25. Closer look at the DC-3, C-47 actually. And I believe this came up from the Palm Springs airport that belongs to their museum. And look at that, it's very weathered, and I like that. It's not factory fresh. There's our producer, my wife, and we are going to move on. There's always a band playing. And let's talk about this. What we're looking at here is the YFQ-42. It's what they call an unmanned combat aerial vehicle. It's built by General Atomics. The Air Force refers to it as a collaborative combat aircraft. It's considered like a loyal wingman fighter drone that will fly alongside crew jets like the F-22, the F-35. It supports them in air-to-air combat, reconnaissance, decoy operations, and more. It's got an internal bay that can carry two AIM-120 advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles. That's a single turbojet engine. It's one of two that is at the air show today, and it's different. I grew up with manned aircraft, and these are slowly taking a larger piece of the air combat pie, which is good. You don't risk a pilot or crew. And it looks like Beale might be the chosen base to house these. The ground testing began last May, and during the summer, they're going to be doing even more flight testing. And this shark-looking aircraft is called the YFB in development 44. It's nicknamed the Fury. It's also an unmanned combat aerial vehicle, and the Air Force refers to as a collaborative combat aircraft. It's developed by the Anduril Industries, which is kind of a newcomer. They've been around a while, but they really hit a home run with this aircraft. And it's also going to be flying alongside combat jets, just like the F-22 and F-35, focusing mainly on air-to-air missions. Originally, the Crackle Aggressor platform is where it came from. It's half the size of an F-16. It's up to Mach 0.95 at 50,000 altitude, 9G peak sustained, 4.5 Gs. And there we have our KC-135R from the 940th, air refueling wing. And what I always enjoy about these air shows is they bring patches, stickers, shirts, and you always see their little pop-up canopies where you can buy those things. And here we have another view of the KC-135R. This civilian jet engines long replaced the TF-33's fuel efficiency. And here's the business end. If you ever see videos of aircraft being refueled, the squadron always puts their on the fins of the refueling boom. Close-up look at the receptacle. This can be pushed in and out by the receiver aircraft, but there's a limit. There's color codes that tell them how far in they've pushed and when it's too far. And as we travel up the boom, what we're going to see here in a second is we're coming up right on there. Oklahoma Air Logistics, March 25 when it was redone. And here's the boomer station where he lays on his belly. And here's a nice T-33 painted up in the Blue Angels colors that the Blue Angels flew in the late 50s, early 60s. And we'll do a walk around on it. And these guys are very nice. They allowed us to go inside the rope and get a closer view of it. Very beautiful. They really maintain this. And every now and then you'll see it come to an air show, so it's always a special treat. So I'll go ahead and be a little quiet. We'll have a little music and I'll come back.
You're watching the Flying Dutchman podcast.
It's the MV-22 Osprey. We see the refueling boom is retracted, and that's what they plug into a basket to take on fuel. These are propellers that enable it to go straight up, and then forward flight they slowly move into the standard propeller position or tractor style that pulls it through the air. It's a very complicated aircraft. It was long in development. It's now come to fruition. It has some teething problems. They've had some accidents with them, but when they work very well. The Marines had to kind of look at how they escort this on missions, where before you had Cobras escorting the transport helicopters, but this tends to outfly. It's fast, it flies far, and so they have to kind of republish how they escort this on missions. It becomes vulnerable once they transition to the vertical to insert troops that would exit out the back here. These guys flew in from Miramar, California, which is near San Diego, and we're north of Sacramento, and they told me they could fly all the way to St. Louis from San Diego on a tank of gas. The Air Force flies them for special operations. Let's go hang out with the crew and have a few laughs. These guys were excellent.
For us as like guys in the back, we can either be in the front there backing up the pilots, or in the back helping out grunts, or doing fast rope or rescue operations.
How are you
how are you able to communicate in the back to your mother country on what's going on here?
Smoke signals. And birds.
Yeah,
Sometimes the birds fly back to the front, and then it's an issue for us. But we tell him to cut it out, but he keeps on doing it.
Pick him up.
Hey.
He's actually falling out. All right.
I've actually fell out of there.
Did you? Is that true?
I've actually fell out of there.
And your name,
It was not fun.
your call signs. How far did you fall?
I was from like my
So
chest
we wear our
down.
gunner's belt
Yeah,
that keeps us inside the airplane.
yeah.
Normally, it also keeps us attached to the airplane.
Oh man.
Perfectly
Yeah. You got a deadline this aircraft, and nobody gets to go home, huh? Yeah. Oh man. So, you guys attended flight school, right? Pensacola. Well, you actually at Pensacola, you had a air crewman flight school to attend, right? Was it?
Where we do our survival swim.
Oh, okay. What?
That's where we do that, and then that's where we also get our aircraft assigned to us as well.
Oh, so did you have a wish list for the
We
air?
can make the wish list sometimes. I think.
But it doesn't. Yeah.
Everyone wants to go on the small attack helicopters, but that's
Yeah.
rare. You have to be buddy.
Yeah. You weren't willing to go there, huh?
No, I actually chose this aircraft.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be on this aircraft.
How long have you been on the aircraft then?
They're all more recent additions. Well, this is like
3.5 years.
Oh, wow. And yourself, sir? Jesus. Really? You've been on this aircraft, on the Osprey?
Yep. I joined. We were still standing up squadron, so I seen up two squadrons.
Did you come from the Frog to this, or did you come directly to it?
Directly to this.
Okay.
One of the first whole long-term guys.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Are you at Miramar?
Miramar.
Okay, that's a good base to operate out of.
We flew up here from there 2 days ago.
Did you?
We swung through Edwards, picked up the jumpers we're dropping today, and
Oh, okay.
we're going to drop them back off at the end of the
Were you-
after the end tomorrow.
So you could get from San Diego to here on a full tank of gas.
Yeah, easily.
Really?
Yeah.
We can make it from like San Diego to about like Missouri on a full tank.
Really?
It's classified.
Is that what you're? Look, he's doing it again. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, you see those things that are covered by the red thing?
Yeah.
Hey, well, it's nice meeting you.
Yeah, he's here. But for you, sir, you graduate from flight school when?
So the flight school was multiple
Oh.
years of training, but I winged in 2018.
Oh,
So
okay.
I officially became designated an aviator in 2018. So.
Oh, okay.
Or not 2018, 2022. Wow.
So-
The years are blending together.
Yeah.
So about 3 years ago, I actually started flying in the actual Osprey. But before that, we go through about 4 different flight schools.
Yeah.
So we learned single engine land, helicopters, multi-engine land, then we finally actually get to the Osprey.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you chose this airframe?
Oh, absolutely. Number one choice.
Yeah.
Only thing I wanted to fly.
It with this vertical lift transition of tractor style or propeller. Are there many civilian aircraft that when you got out of the Marine Corps you go, hey, I could go fly for X because they fly vertical lift?
They are building one. I think it's the Leonardo 609.
Oh.
It'll be the body of a King Air.
Yeah.
With tilt rotor capability. I don't think they're actually. Are they out? Do you know about the 609? Yeah. Are they really out in the world yet? I know they're still kind of.
Oh,
being
okay.
developed still.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a multi-engine plane.
Yeah,
Also a
you're.
helicopter. Like we come out with multi-engine, single-engine, and helicopter ratings. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, we got a little bit of it all.
Are you gonna do a full 20 with these guys?
And we'll see. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna get to 11 years before I get.
Oh, is that what you owe them? You owe them 11? Okay. Who's demoing today? Who's flying it?
He's gonna be one of them. And then we got.
I didn't try to bring a whole lot in here. I didn't want to.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, you over there is demoing. He just walked past.
Yeah.
And then Major Mearsma. He's a really, really tall, like.
Major Mears?
Mearsma.
Mearsma, what's his call sign?
Call sign Drago.
Drago?
From the Rocky movies. He looks like
you-
Drago.
I think I'm the spy.
We're actually just completely manned by spies today.
Yeah, well, better bring them up here than down there.
Yeah.
Especially the Beale.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality spying up here. Well, thanks, guys, for chatting with me.
Yeah,
All right.
appreciate it, guys.
Of course.
This is the CH-46 Sea Knight. This is what the MV-22 Osprey replaced in the Marine Corps. And it's been around since Vietnam. They're all gone now with few exceptions, but this is what the Osprey replaced. This Osprey came with them from Miramar. It stopped off at Edwards Air Force Base to pick up some skydivers, and then it brought them out here. And at the end of the air show on Sunday, they're going to fly out, drop them off back at Edwards Air Force Base, and then head back to Miramar. Here's a very beautiful aircraft, the Hawker Sea Fury, owned by Sanders Aviation out of Ione, California. They raced this at Reno multiple times. They own several of these, and on an early episode, I visit their airport, their private airport, and got a tour. And I was very grateful for that because it's they rarely do that. But a gentleman named Vince advocated for me, and they said yes. They're well maintained. So Warbirds to Racers, the episode. If you go back and look at some on my channel, you'll see it. They have different types. Steve Hinton flew one of theirs. Famous shuttle pilot, air racer. Big prop. This engine, I can't explain it, but it runs different than a normal engine, and explains why. And here's a photo from my visit to Sanders Aviation with the aircraft in its hangar. You could eat off. I was told you could eat off the floor. I imagine that means they don't have no plates. I don't know. Well, look who's here. The B-52. I grew up at near Mather Air Force Base in Sacramento, California, and that was home to the 320th Bomb Wing, the B-52. It's near and dear to my heart. It's my logo. So let's get a close look. This B-52 just came out of inspection and repairs necessary. Got a new paint job. It's only flown 64 hours since that paint job, yo. So let's take a tour of my favorite. And we can see us from Barksdale by the BD. Let's go.
You're watching the Flying Dutchman podcast.
Yeah, brother.
Here we see B-52H0051. Now this B-52 played a unique role during the Cold War. In the aftermath of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986, this was one of two B-52s that flew Operation Giant Fish, where they had air sampling pods attached to the aircraft, and they were doing air samples to get an idea of just how much radiation leakage there had been. And they put up the instrumentation where the tail gunner's position used to be. 0051 and 0052 flew those missions. Yeah, this is just an all-around wonderful aircraft. It was designed in 1952 on a paper napkin at a hotel restaurant when the Air Force told Boeing they want something to replace the B-47, and to start thinking in those terms. And in 1955, it started joining the fleet, Castle Air Force Base, and it just was upgraded, all the way up to the H model, and now we're going to have the J model that will have the Rolls-Royce H130, C130 engines, highly reliable. Anyway, let's just watch. Okay, we're going to get a close look here of the Lightning Pod. This thing here provides a live feed video through the monitors on the jet, and it's a laser pod, and it can do the coordinates, and it sends the information to the bomb system in the cabin, and the crew can actually drop their payload on designated targets that targeting pod has identified. Laser guided, very accurate. They can now work independent of any joint terminal air controllers on the ground or anything like that. They refer to the operator of that in the B-52 as the pod father, is what I was told. Here's the landing gear. Oh my gosh, could you imagine the schematics drawings for this? Look at that. 1950s technology. The braking system. When a B-52 takes off, before they retract the gears, the pilots have to put on the brakes to stop the wheels from spinning so they can go into the wheel wells and not create a sensation of centrifugal force. And it just minimizes anything going wrong when you've got those 8 tires coming up in the wheel well. Doing I don't know what the RPMs would be, but you figure the takeoff speed's around 135 or depending on their weight. But here you see that disconnect right there. That's so that they can swing these bomb bay doors all the way in the vertical outside, and then they can bring the payload up under the 52. And here we go. And I like to do these close-up shots for various reasons. One, I'm a modeler. Two, I think it tells a better story of the aircraft. There's a sticker, and here the crew chiefs that I was speaking to, that's their names. One of the gentlemen had been in almost 20 years. Maximum opens. This tells us it was built in 1960, and it's the fresh paint job as we work our way around the nose. Now eventually you see those chin blisters right there. Those are going away. Those were electro-optical viewing for night adverse weather flying. They're going away. The B-52 is getting quite a radar upgrade. Those are no longer required. Big aircraft. The stress on those flaps during takeoff, landings is incredible. And they built a tough airplane. And the reason why the B-52H is still around is because the D models in Vietnam were heavily used, and then the G models were shared the nuclear alert, but they also did a lot of flying, and the H models were held back. They didn't obtain as many flying hours, so there's not as many flying hours on the H model, and that was done on purpose. So this thing is going to outlive the B-2 bomber. It's going to outlive the B-1 bomber. And it's just an incredible aircraft. There's actually cement weight back there to compensate for center of gravity after they removed the weapon, the Gatling gun. And here we see her going back home. Now we move on to the T-38s. This is my lovely wife and producer for the show. She's standing in front of the T-38 Talon. It's a Northrop product. It's a twin-engine, high-altitude supersonic jet trainer, mainly used by the Air Force, but the Navy does fly some. NASA flies some. It's known for being the world's first supersonic jet trainer, and it's trained generations of pilots. It first flew, believe it or not, in 1959, and quite a hot rod when it did come out. And it was introduced to the Air Force in 1961, where it started replacing the T-33. And they had to have a supersonic trainer because our planes were going faster. It's got 2,900 pounds of thrust for each motor. Again, it's used as a trainer. Now, it's painted black because only certain squadrons have black T-38s. The U-2 squadron, the B-2 bomber squadron, and then an F-22 squadrons use it for dissimilar air combat. And they use it as chase planes for NASA. There's a T-38A, I don't know if this is a C or not, because the C was upgraded with modern avionics and GPS navigation. I kind of think it is, but they also have the AT-38, which is an armed version used for weapons training that used to be down at Holloman, I believe, and then I want to say Warner Robins, but somewhere they still do that. Over 70,000 pilots have been trained on it. Smooth handling, it's a little tricky. Here's a retired one that was built in 1958, 570. And that's how you can tell the age of a lot of the Air Force aircraft they put the year. But it's a wonderful aircraft, but it's a little tricky in the pattern. There's been a number of accidents where the aircraft only gives you a little bit of stall vibration, and you got to keep the airspeed up and use your rudder and stick. Good coordination. And then Northrop developed the single-seat F5 Tiger off of this. And this is at a park at Beale Air Force Base where they had this. They have a U-2 in front of a building. They have an SR-71 and a D-21 drone. Not very successful. Not a very successful reconnaissance parasite that was launched by the SR-71, and they didn't use it very long. In fact, I believe we lost an SR-71 when it came off the back. It ripped off one of the tails. But anyway, the T-38s are being replaced by the T-7 Red Hawk. It's going to be a slow process, but they are eventually going away. But I think in our lifetime we're still going to be seeing them flying here or there. Oh, and here we have this is a TU-2S Dragon Lady, the trainer version. It's been around for 70 years, since 1955, and it just recently did it set some records for the distance covered and endurance on a single mission. August 1st of 2025, it covered like 6,000 miles, more than 14 hours in the air, above 70,000 feet. It overflew all 48 of the lower U.S. states, and they took off from Beale, landed at Beale, and they plan to retire the U-2 in 2026. So they have their reasons. They want to transition to space-based and unmanned systems, and also our potential adversaries' air defenses are getting pretty sophisticated, where they can reach up and drop a U-2. So what they had done is, to commemorate the U-2, is they flown that mission exactly 70 years above 70,000 feet. And it showcased U-2's capabilities, and it flew over the states of those U-2 pilots who paid the ultimate sacrifice. The Dragon Lady it's one of the most difficult planes to fly due to its design, and you'll see coming up of a chase car assisted landing. The Jets knows it's very long, it's hard for the pilot to see over. He's in a cramped cockpit with a space helmet on. He has limited peripheral view, so he really can't see how far off the runway is. So another U-2 pilot in the chase car will follow and talk to him and provide the pilot with his situational awareness. More than 1,000 pilots have flown the U-2. And it's hopefully it might go beyond 2026. But the aircraft was devised by Lockheed Skunk Works in the early 50s. The CIA wanted an aircraft that could overfly the Soviet Union, and there's that chase car I mentioned. And capture photographs, keep an eye on their rocket technology. And so it flew over Russia from 1956 to 1960. The aircraft's gone through multiple upgrades. There's a close-up of the Charger that does the chase flying. And it's a wonderful aircraft, and I'm going to miss seeing it. And hopefully museums such as Castle in Atwater can secure one. we're moving on to the fighters. Right now it's the F-15 center stage. We had 2 F-15 Strike Eagles from the 389th, the Thunderbolts out of Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho. They share the airbase with the Bold Tigers, who also fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. These aircraft are well protected with remove before flights. You can see some covers where there are open veins on the aircraft on the very top. Antennas even have a cover on it. This tells you that nobody's going to be coming back to this airplane for a while. There we see the T-bolts, the Bivet, that red thing there. They put their personal effects in there when they travel. Here's a hard point where you would hang a bomb right there. And the sawtooth elevator. The early F-15s did not have that. That was added later. And there's a side view from Kingsley Field. We have the F-15D, which is the trainer version of the F-15. And Kingsley Field, Oregon is the only place to train F-15 pilots. Okay, now this aircraft here, you see the markings, the special markings on there, and on the left inner vertical, you see a person. Well, that is Captain Kingsley, that the airfield is named after. He was a bombardier on a B-17 that was bombing the oil field Polistei in Romania. The airplane was shot up pretty bad. They were able to drop their bombs. They fell out of formation. When that happens, you get picked on. ME-109 showed up and started shooting them up. Ball turret gunner's wounded. The tail gunner's gravely wounded. The captain or the pilot, co-pilot are fighting to keep the aircraft in the air. Their motors are taking hits. He calls, it's time to bail out. Kingsley has left the bombardier station. He's helping attend to the wounded tail gunner who's really jacked up. And the ball gunner and the bailout alarm is going off. And they realize the tail gunner's parachute is, see right there, on June 23rd, 1944. The tail gunner, his chute is damaged. So the bombardier Kingsley, who the airfield is named after, put his own parachute onto the wounded tail gunner, helped them evacuate the aircraft through the bomb bay, and as they jumped through, the ball turret gunner looked up and he could just see the bombardier Kingsley standing on the boardwalk in the bomb bay looking down at them, and he knew full well he was going to die. And the aircraft stayed aloft for a little bit on autopilot before it impacted the ground, killing Kingsley, and his body was later recovered, and now he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, and he is buried. I don't know if he's at Arlington or if he's overseas, but what a hero to do that. Selfish. I can't think of another one. There's another Strike Eagle with the lightning targeting pod. I think that might be under the left intake. And we're going to pan around. B-52, clean. These F-15s. I'm so glad they brought them. Look at that. There's U-2 hangars. And there's a T-6 SCAP-2 named after Colonel Robin Olds, who named every airplane he flew from World War II to Vietnam SCAP as a tribute to a friend. And here we're going to just take another still shot of the F-15 Strike Eagle. Again, look at all the remove before flight flags. Let's see what one looks like pulling down the runway. There you go, full afterburner. Where those afterburners are coming out of, they refer to those as turkey feathers. Those nozzles are able to expand and retract. And that is the T-bolts, they like to be called. Here's another view of it. You can see how the sun, how it can, the shadows on it. It's a good camouflage. When I was young, it was neat to see brightly painted airplanes, but when I was older, they tend to blend into the sky now. So let's walk forward here before we move on to something else. Fine example. I have the kit. I haven't built it yet. I probably do the Bold Tiger. So these are the F-35s, or commonly known as Fat Amy. Fat Amy. There's the F-15, F-35A. You can tell it's an A version by the single nose wheel, that the star and bar is under the vertical stabilizers. If it was an F-35C, it would have two small wheels at the nose gear. And if it's an F-35B, the star and bar would be under the cockpit, denoting it as a Marine F-35. Marine F-35. All right, I'll be quiet here and let's just go take a look around. Beautiful example of the F-4U Corsair. And the Thunderbirds, they brought like 8 jets to the air show. And here we see a lineup of those. It's really impressive. Got to watch them leave. And then we're going to go say hi to Maverick. Here's Maverick. Give him a salute. Look, he has a tip jar. That tipping's getting out of hand at all levels. Here we see a powered F-16. The airman's going to take the young lady her first flight. There we go, full burner. Looks like fun. They told me I was too big. There's an F-35 that does the same thing. Not sure who builds these. Oh, somebody enjoying a corn dog. Enjoying a corn dog. There is the cockpit the civilian guy owns. He takes it to air shows. You can have your picture taken in it, just like Maverick. Here's another shot of air show crowd. There's one of the combat collaborative drones right there that will be stationed at Beale. Oh, for you warbird enthusiasts, this is for you. This B-25 is just so nice. And there's another view of it. And I want to say they said it was a TB-25 Mitchell, a trainer version. I don't know how to tell the difference. But just very clean. If I could own a warbird, this would be the one to own. Boy, that guy almost looked like me. And here we have the formation lights underneath. Very clean. Look at that. Not a lot of exhaust burn going there. Don't know where they find parts for these, but they're still available. If you ever could find the old movie from the early 70s, Catch-22, Alan Arkin was one of the stars of the show, and Bob Newhart's in there. There are 17 flyable B-25 Mitchells in that movie, and the first 8 minutes of the movie is them taking off. It was filmed in Mexico. You'll never see a sight like that again. And that movie's responsible for a number of B-25s that are still flying today. So we do owe, I don't know who the creator and director was, but we do owe them a thank you, because they were dragging B-25s from everywhere to make this movie. And then they were sold on the Warbird circuit. Here is an agriculture aircraft. It is a name I cannot think of. Air tractor. Here is the Firehawk, the UH-60 Firehawk. It's able to fight fires in day and night. And it is based on the UH-60 airframe. It sits higher. It's a tank. It could suck water from a lake. This is an Airbus EC-135 rescue helicopter. And this company, you can actually have a health plan with them, and if you're injured or sick and you're under their health plan, they'll come and get you, and you can actually look into that. I have no idea what the cost is, but if you like to travel, if you're a motorcyclist, because sometimes you don't need to be airlifted, they'll take you by ambulance, but if you are a card-carrying member of REACH, you can request a helicopter, and they are obligated under your insurance plan to come pick you up. Here we are, CHIPS, California High Patrol. Looks like a Cessna Caravan. Somebody will correct me on that, hopefully, if I'm not correct. There's my finger in the way. I'll hear about that later. And let's take a peeky inside. It's your standard Caravan. A little bit of extra radio gear. You got take a look in the back here. Let's see if we can't fit through that little hole there. Give me a second so I can jump in there. There we go. Oof. Pretty clean. I'm not sure everything they do with that. I'm sure it's some observations because the California Highway Patrol does everything from protecting the governor. Ugh. There's my beautiful executive wife. And actually she's my producer. And as you walk along, cargo area, the guy that's got a turtleback. There's a baby drinking a gallon of water. And let's look into the cockpit. A lot of fuses to pull. If that airplane, if something went wrong, that fuse is right there. This aircraft needs no introduction, as this is the OV-10 Bronco. And look at that. It does not have the pylons where the 20 millimeters and the 4 hard points were. Nice cockpit, very well laid out, fun to fly. There's your throttle quadrant and your mixtures. Over the right shoulder, comms. There's where your observer sits. This aircraft will fly overhead of a fire and will manage the aircraft and will direct the aircraft where to be, where to come in at. And then here's one of the aircraft that it works with, the S2 tractor, turbo tractor. Look at that engine. That's not your old radial rights. That's the turbo tractor. And it gives you a lot of power. You can come out of valleys. It's just a wonderful aircraft. It's not going nowhere anytime soon. And where I live, I see those often. In fact, there was a fire not far from us, and I got to stand in my backyard and watch these guys operate. And they're like cowboys. I'm not saying they fly like a cowboy, but they know their business. They're old school flyers, and then there's some younger ones, and it's I bet $1 if you ever heard that, right? And it's kind of opening up for younger pilots now because of you're having older pilots coming out of it. And here's another U-2, the trainer version. Easy to tell why, right? And it's gonna be missed, but it's not as relevant anymore, and there's other systems that can replace it.
Hey, I'm Squinch with the West Coast Rhino Demo Team, and you're watching the Flying Dutchman Podcast.
Here's the example of the Dodge Charger where a pilot, U-2 pilot's in it, talking down the other pilot, let them know you're at 10 feet, 5 feet, 2 feet. The pilot will chop the throttle and let it settle to the ground. Very difficult to land is why they do this, and they've done it since day one. Here we see the Marine MV-22 Ospray from Marine Corps Air Station, San Diego. The two that came up, you saw the earlier walk around. Two of them flew up. They stopped off at Edwards Air Force Base, collected some skydivers, and brought them up here. And one's put on static display, one of the aircraft. The second aircraft is for the flying portion, and there he is taking off, and he'll be transitioning to the airplane pull propellers, tractor style, where they pull the aircraft through the air, not push it. And they're going to drop skydivers, and there they go. And this is Aaron DeLue, aerobatic pilot. He's rated in over like 67 different aircraft. Airline pilot, 7,700 hours. And then we have the MiG-17. And this one here is flown by Jason Solms. And it puts on a good show. Very clean jet. Very cool. MiG-17 was a real pain in the ass in Vietnam. If you could get under its nose in the front, he would lose sight of you, and then you can have an opportunity. But all the same. And this is the shortest runway in the world. And this guy here has, what do they call themselves? I forget what they call themselves, to be honest with you. Tucker's Air Patrol, I think it was. And then here's the F4U Corsair that we saw earlier. Again, there's that Osprey hammering it up. But anyway, this guy, he's going to go and do some flying with an F-18 Hornet. Unfortunately, I had competing appointments and I couldn't stay here all day. I just take it off, tuck it in the gear, go full speed. I couldn't stay around for long flying. It's good all the same. Here's some of that MiG-17's high passes. There he goes, and there's an impact from a bomb. Pyrotechnics. It didn't actually drop a bomb. KC-135 making a low flyby from Altus Air Force Base, Oklahoma. I believe that's where they train the KC-135 pilots. Maybe even C-5 pilots, I don't know. Here they are. They're going to do a breakaway in this. They've disconnected, and now they're going to do a quick breakaway that they would perform in real life. The receiver goes right. The tanker goes left. And before I go, I saw this guy here in an air park, and I thought I'd get some close-up shots of him. When I grew up going to the Beale Air Show, they would have one of these flying. It would take off, and about an hour later, they'd tell you to look up, and you'd see a vapor trail, a contrail, and then you'd hear a double sonic boom. And then an hour later, it returns. And that was always cool. business end of these engines, and I don't have any specs in front of me to rattle off, but it was the fastest air-breathing aircraft for a long time. If not, I think it might still hold the record. Think about it. There's their fuel dump right there. There's the other engine. There were some accidents with the SR-71. One went down off the coast of the Philippines, and the Air Force wanted to recover the jet. They weren't too sure where it ended up. But fortunately, there was a Filipino fishermen that were taking a break on a beach on a little island, and they saw this jet coming down. So one of them drove a couple sticks into the ground and provided a fix. So when they found out that the Air Force is looking for their black jet, he contacted the authorities and said he knows about where it's at. So he ran an azimuth off of his sticks that were still in the ground, lined up, and that they were able to find it and recover the aircraft. They've had a few go off the runway. They've had some unfortunate fatalities. One radar navigator, parachute in the water, and unfortunately his face mask filled with water and he drowned. It's they might make it look easy at air shows, but it's a dangerous business.